Hey guys, Stephanie with AmericanMuscle.com here with my quick overview of the Ford Racing EV6 47-pound high flow fuel injectors. They're available for all $19.99 and up GT Mustangs. The EV6 47-pound injectors from Ford Racing are gonna be for the Mustang owners out there who are looking for a little bit of an upgraded injector to support a build. So these injectors will plug right into a range of Mustangs, which means they can be used in a few different motors. So the specific power mods that they can support will differ depending on the motor. A 47-pound injector isn't a huge upgrade at the end of the day, so these are going to be for the more mild and not off-the-wall builds. So how much power can a 47-pound injector support? There's not really a straight cut and dry answer for that, but I can tell you that these injectors can support an NA build or naturally aspirated build of around 600 to 650 horsepower, which will put them at an 85% duty cycle, assuming that you're running slightly over 39 psi fuel pressure. So the injectors are not going to be able to support as much power on a forced induction setup because you have that greater amount of air. So you're looking at these delivering enough fuel of just shy of 500 horsepower, assuming the same 85% duty cycle and 39 psi fuel pressure. So 500 horsepower for the 4.6 motor is going to require different things than 500 horsepower from a Coyote motor, so you have to take that into consideration. Numbers I gave aren't the end-all and be-all. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what the injectors can support. Obviously, your complete setup and your tune are going to come into play, and if you can bump up your fuel pressure, if your pump can support that is, these injectors will be able to support a little bit more horsepower. There is a note on the site that cautions that these are not recommended for forced induction builds on 05 to 10 Mustangs, and that goes back to what I said earlier about the max power that these can support on a turbo or supercharged build. You get to 500 a lot faster on the newer mod motors, so just be mindful of the restrictions when you're shopping for fuel injectors. So low boost applications can probably get away with it if you've got a good fuel pump and you want to run a higher duty cycle, but I would recommend a different injector because I'd hate to see you guys limited by your injector when you go for your tune. Since the EV6 47-pounders are actually one of the smallest injector upgrades, you also have to consider the fuel that you'd like to run with your build. This injector will work with all different types of fuel, whether it's pump gas, E85, or race gas. But once again, just be mindful of the power limitations. If you're looking to do full bolt-ons on a new Coyote and run E85, these aren't going to make the cut for you. When it comes to price, you can expect to spend just under $300 for this set of injectors, which is actually quite affordable. Obviously, as you go up the ladder and hit those larger flowing injectors, things are going to get more costly. But all Ford Racing injectors are held to the same OE specs that are used in all Ford vehicles, while some competitors out there do not build to OE standards and their injectors are not held to any specific build tolerances. These injectors are an EV6 body style injector, and they have a US car style injector, which makes them plug and play for most setups. Overall, it's a very simple install here, guys. You're just looking at clips at the end of the day, but you are playing with fuel, so I just make sure you have a handful of shop rags to keep things contained. It's nothing crazy here, so I'm going to call it a 1 out of 3 on the overall scale of difficulty. But obviously, injectors are not one of those things that you can just plug and go, so you will need to tune for them in order for the car to operate properly, so just keep that in mind before installing. The install will be slightly different depending on what gen Mustang you have, but it all comes down to releasing any fuel that's in the rails, possibly by pushing the Schrader valve and collecting it in a rag. But you unbolt the fuel rail, obviously you got to remove anything that might be in the way, and remove the fuel rail from the manifold. You may get lucky and have all of the injectors come off with the rail, or there may be some still in the manifold that you need to get out. Just make sure to get all of the old O-rings out before installing the new injectors. You can install your new injectors into the fuel rail and just make sure they seat properly in the rails and the intake before you tighten the fuel rail back down. Once you're done under the hood, I would turn the key to the on position, but don't start the car yet. You're just priming the fuel pump and cycling some fuel to get some pressure into the system again. I would do this a few times and then check all of the injectors for leaks, and the lines too. So assuming that you have the tune all figured out, after all that's done, you can start it after and check for any leaks. So to wrap things up with the Ford Racing EV6 47-pound high flow fuel injectors, these are a mild upgrade in the world of fuel injectors that can support around 650 NA horsepower or 500 forced induction horsepower. They're very easy to install and they're not going to break the bank either. As always, I suggest you check them out more online for yourself, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.